Superstition Mountains, an unseen killer, and the lost Dutchman Gold Mine. Welcome everyone. This week we're going back to 1949 for an American Western drama called Lust for Gold, starring Ida Lupino, Glenn Ford, and Gig Young. And this is directed by and produced by S. Sylvan Simon. Our story begins in Arizona this week with the tale of the lost Dutchman Gold Mine. In modern times, a newspaper reports that noted explorer and writer Floyd Buckley claims to have discovered the location of the lost Dutchman Gold Mine from an old Spanish map. He is approached by Barry Storm, who believes he has some claim to it, as the Dutchman was his grandfather. Buckley brushes him off, but when he heads into the Superstition Mountains, Storm secretly follows him. Following close behind, an unseen killer shoots Buckley, making him the fourth recent murder victim. Storm quickly notifies Sheriff Early and his deputy Coven. Coven tells Storm more about the mine. 100 years before, Pedro Peralta had hidden $20 million in gold in the most inaccessible of his mines, only to be killed by the Apaches for violating a place holy to their thunder god. His greed whetted after finding a buried rifle in the mountains, so Storm heads to the Pioneer Rest Home to ask the elderly locals more information. Learning more, the next part of our story is a flashback to 1880 involving Jacob Walls, or Dutchie, played by Glenn Ford. At Florence Junction, while selling two boros, Dutchie and his friend Weiser overhear Ludi carelessly call his companion Peralta. Recognizing the name, Dutchie and Weiser trail the pair into Superstition Mountains. After Ramon Peralta finds his brother's mine, Waltz and Weiser kill the other two men down in cold blood. Then Waltz treacherously kills and shoots Weiser as well. When Waltz returns to Phoenix with gold nuggets as big as his fists, the news in town spreads quickly. Scheming, discontent Julia Thomas, played by Ida Lupino, a bakery owner, married to Pete, played by Gig Young, wishes to become acquainted with Waltz, the richest man in town. A jealous husband and suspicious motives arise. However, Julia and Waltz soon fall in love. Waltz gives the money to bribe Pete into giving her a divorce. Sounds like trouble. So, does Julia tell her husband she will soon learn the location of the gold mine? Does a love-stricken Waltz give Julia the directions to the treasure? Or does a shootout at the mine trigger a deadly rockfall? Released June 10th, 1949, our story is based on the 1945 book Thunder God's Gold by author Barry Storm, one of the seminal chroniclers of the lost Dutchman legend. One of the first writers on the subject to actually go out and explore the regions he wrote about, he intrigued masses of treasure hunters and adventurers for many years. This film won 3 1949 Photoplay Awards for Best Pictures of the Month and Best Performances of the Month for Ida Lupino and Glenn Ford. 81% of Google users like this movie, stating, undervalued Columbia classic, great film noir western, and enjoyable retelling of the legend. Yes, it is, and I'll put the links for a couple other great westerns down below. Please click the links for The Son of Katie Elder from 1965 and Kansas Pacific from 1953. And our trivia question this week, was this the last movie for someone involved in our film? Was this the last movie for someone involved in our film? So a little more history and the answer to our trivia question coming up next. This week for history, I'm going to talk more about the legend of the lost Dutchman Gold Mine. So, the lost Dutchman's Gold Mine is a legendary, incredibly rich gold mine hidden in Arizona's Superstition Mountains, named for Jacob Waltz, the Dutchman, a German immigrant. The Superstition Mountains have been a source of mystery and legend since early times, as the area is dotted with ancient cliff dwellings and caves, many showing signs of former habitation. During the 1840s, the Peralta family of northern Mexico supposedly developed rich gold mines in the Superstitions. Their last expedition to carry gold back to Mexico occurred in 1848. Legend has it that the large party was ambushed by Apaches and all were killed except for one or two Peralta family members who escaped to Mexico. Numerous maps have surfaced over the years as men who claim to have found the Peralta mine were unable to return to it or some disaster occurred before they could file a claim, all adding to the legend of a lost mine. In the 1870s, Jacob Waltz, the Dutchman, was said to have located the mine through the aid of a Peralta descendant. Waltz and his partner Weiser worked the mine and allegedly hid one or more collections of gold in the superstitions. Weiser was later killed by Apaches, or according to some, by Jacob Waltz himself. There was a catastrophic flood in Phoenix in 1891, and Waltz's farm was one of many that were devastated. Afterwards, Waltz fell ill, rumored of pneumonia during the flooding, and died October 25, 1891, after having been nursed by an acquaintance named Julia Thomas. He supposedly described the mine's location to Julia. However, neither she nor other seekers in the years that followed were able to find the lost Dutchman mine. People have been seeking the lost Dutchman's mine since at least 1892, while according to one estimate, 9,000 people annually made some effort to locate this legendary mine. Many versions of the lost Dutchman mine story exist, and several books and films have been done on the subject. Subsequently, searchers have sometimes met with foul play or even death, contributing to the superstition and legend that surround the mountains. Interesting. I'd like to get my pick and shovel ready to go. But first, we got to answer our trivia question. Was this the last movie for someone involved in our film? Yes, this was the last film directed by American stage film director and producer S. Sylvan Simon. The film was originally directed by George Marshall. Marshall quit 4 days into filming due to disputes with producer S. Sylvan Simon, so Simon took over directing. Simon began his career at Warner Brothers in 1935, supervising many of the slapstick sequences for the Marx Brothers, Red Skeleton, and yes, Abbott and Costello. Simon directed numerous Hollywood films in the late 1930s and 1940s, was the producer of the 1950 comedy Born Yesterday, nominated for 5 Academy Awards, and I'll be doing that film at some point. Don't forget to click the link below to watch Lust for Gold in its entirety. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon.